We hope you enjoyed that little presentation video. So we will wait until 3:30 and we'll welcome everyone again, which is right now. So we want to say welcome to the K-3 Literacy Virtual Learning SOS webinar. We are so excited that you're here today. We're going to show a quick video that just kind of talks through some webinar things before we get started that our wonderful colleague put together for us.
Welcome. We are glad that you have decided to join us today. In order to have an optimal web experience during the webinar, please do the following. When you join, you are automatically muted and your camera was set to be inactive. We ask that you keep your microphone muted and camera deactivated throughout the webinar. This will help limit the number of distractions and unintended tours of your home or office. We will have individuals in the background who will be monitoring the chat box and assisting with any technical issues. We will have a designated time to answer questions, so don't you worry, we are here to support you. If you are able to connect to your modem via an Ethernet cord, please do so. It can help minimize any connectivity issues you may encounter. As you probably already know, technical issues may arise. We want to thank you in advance for being compassionate and giving grace to the presenters as they navigate through any technical issues that may arise. To be honest with you, they are excited that you have joined, but they are also a little nervous. So please practice grace and space today. If you encounter technical issues during the webinar, such as not being able to see the presentation or you cannot hear the presenters, try doing the following. Breathe. It's okay. Think happy thoughts. Check your connectivity level. Are you still connected to the internet? How many bars do you have in your Wi-Fi signal? Check your volume level. Is your volume turned up? Do not unmute yourself. Just check to make sure your volume is on and it's turned up. Refresh your browser. Sometimes your browser just needs to reset. Don't we all? Try leaving the webinar and rejoining us. If all else fails and you have to leave the webinar, do not fret. We are recording the presentation and will be releasing it in the upcoming days to all of the participants who signed up. We hope that you gain essential knowledge during the webinar that will enable you to be successful in your field of work. Enjoy the presentation.
So welcome everybody. Today we are very excited that you're here joining us. We are the K-3 Literacy team at NCDPI, and we are here to talk about our virtual learning space of support for teachers, or as we have been affectionately calling it, our SOS. So let's start off with who we are. I'll start by introducing Dr. Tara Galloway. She is the director of the K-3 Literacy Division. Tanya Parrish is our lead literacy consultant. Tanya serves the Sandhills and North Central regions of the state, as well as charters. Next, we have Mary Durfel, serving as the Piedmont Triad K-3 Literacy Consultant. Mary will be our captain navigating us through the SOS today. Casey Taylor is serving as our Southeast Consultant. Kelly Bendheim serves the Northwest region. Tiana Pinkney serves the Western region, and if you were with us yesterday, you got to witness her amazing energy. And Tad Merritt serves the Northeast region. And I am Angela Preston, and I serve the Southwest region of North Carolina. We are all so happy that you have decided to join us on this lovely Thursday afternoon. So let's talk a little bit about our department and what we do in our division. The heart of our work is to improve literacy outcomes for all learners. This remains the core of our vision and mission. In order to achieve this, the cornerstone of our work is outlined by the North Carolina K-3 Literacy Comprehensive Plan for Reading Achievement. We often refer to this as the CPRA. This plan was recently approved by the State Board of Education on September 3rd, 2020. If you were unable to attend the webinar yesterday with Tiana energetically outlining our concepts, within the CPRA plan, please add your email to the chat box with CPRA, and we will share the follow-up video with you when it goes out. The CPRA fulfills the Read to Achieve legislation charge of the State Board of Education to develop, implement, and continuously evaluate a comprehensive plan to improve reading achievement in public schools. So you might be wondering, what does this plan have to do with our virtual learning SOS? Well, in order to accomplish our team mission and vision, and to address our current state of virtual, in-person, and hybrid classrooms, we have created and will continue to update a virtual space that provides support for educators to teach literacy skills based on the science of reading. These supports are applicable to both virtual and face-to-face classrooms. So let's talk about why. Why are we doing this? Well, I was a teacher in North Carolina for many, many years, and my colleagues were all teachers as well. Our heart is with our teachers who are heroes. They are working tirelessly. I have many teacher friends who have said they feel like they're back to their first year of teaching with how many hours they're spending on their work. And they were working tirelessly so that they can provide our students with the skills that they need to learn to read. And I know this because even my daughter is 6 and is in school learning how to read. With all the changes the pandemic has brought to education, one of the most obvious and drastic has been moving instruction to virtual and in-person and hybrid settings. So to support this shift for teachers, many organizations and universities and companies, they've all released resources for teaching literacy in virtual settings. Well, we know it can be overwhelming as a teacher to try to go through all the research and read in the resources and figure out what's really needed. So we developed the Virtual Learning Space of Support as an SOS for teachers. In the sea of virtual materials, we identified resources for evidence-based practices in literacy that have been modified for virtual classrooms. So our hope is that this will be an SOS or a space of support and save precious amounts of time for teachers and leaders to be able to find exactly what they need to teach their students literacy skills. All right, so let's move into what is the SOS. The resource was created in Microsoft Sway. So if you're not familiar with Sway, it's similar to a website or a blog setup. And basically there's a front page that will link you to each topic, and then each topic will open in a new browser tab. The topics all came from the CPRA, which is based on the body of research known as the science of reading. They are not curriculum specific. These topics encompass skills that are necessary to teach all students to read. These would be skills like phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. These same topics are outlined in the National Reading Panel's Put Reading First, an IES practice guide, Foundational Skills to Support Reading for Understanding in Kindergarten through 3rd grade, published by the Institute of Education Sciences, or IES. So all of this is to say, we did not just simply come up with some ideas of what we thought you might need, but we made sure all of the content was backed by research and what we know teaches students how to read. That's what's encompassed in the science of reading. The topics of phonological awareness and virtual instruction and phoneme grapheme correspondences and virtual instruction are currently completed. So they will be what you can find in the SOS. We are working on the other topics and will publish them as they are completed. So along with our literacy content, we wanted to also provide planning and assessment, and then some support around my favorite topic, which is explicit instruction and how do we actually use explicit instruction virtually. Now let's talk about what it will look like. When we get into each topic, the format follows a common path. Each of these pages contains a purposefully concise knowledge building section, followed by resources to help facilitate instruction. The knowledge building section is based upon the science of reading, like we talked about. This section provides background knowledge for each topic, for example, phonics, and may also include tips for teaching phonics and resources to support educators' understanding of what really is phonics. This information is applicable across in-person and virtual instruction. Then, as we go further down, we'll move into the tools for instruction, which are all the goodies. We scoured through the virtual resources and identified what tools and short snippets of webinars to provide teachers with much needed support for virtual instruction. But as we get into the SOS, you'll notice that the beauty of this is that many of these virtual resources will easily translate into classrooms. Now, the time you've all been waiting for is here. So we are going to take a tour of the SOS together. Mary Durfel, who has just joined us, she is going to be our captain leading the dive into the virtual SOS, and I will be navigating. At the end of the webinar, we will drop the link into the SOS into the chat box. So for now, you can sit back, relax, and we'll guide you through all the resources. You can expect some deeper information on the topics that we will go through as we go through knowledge building. You can also expect to look at the specific resources from the outside organizations as we go through what they look like. At the end, we will provide the link for you when we're done with our tour. We will also provide a feedback form because we value your feedback, and we will really want to make this space of support exactly what you need and very useful for educators. So without further ado, let's take a tour together. Mary, it's on you.
Thank you, Angela. So I'm really excited. I've been cooped up in my house like all of you guys through COVID-19, and I feel like I'm having a party or something. So this is really fun. And if I go really fast, it's because I'm also nervous. But here we go. I'm Mary Durfel, and I will walk you through a tour of the virtual SOS. We're going to cover a large amount of content today, so please drop any questions you have in the chat box, as Angela mentioned, and depending on our time, we will address them at the end. Also, Angela is going to navigate this way for us, so you may hear me communicating with her just a little bit, or maybe not, and my colleague Kelly Bentheim is monitoring the chat box as we go. So thank you for your support, Kelly and Angela. Before starting, I want to just briefly share that there are two major thought processes behind the concept of this resource. The first is this: your time is invaluable, and we realize that it is your greatest commodity as an educator. I was a classroom teacher for 15 years, and I often got lost looking for evidence-based resources, looking up having lost hours of time. When so many amazing virtual resources started becoming available during the COVID pandemic, my colleagues and I found ourselves thinking about how hard it would be to choose what to use and how long it would take to find what you need. And on top of that, putting the lessons together, practicing, preparing, and you have a mountain in front of you, which I don't need to tell you that. It's easy to feel defeated before you even get started. So the idea for a space of support was born in hopes of saving educators time. The second big idea here is that these are evidence-based practices in the classroom, and our hope is to show how they can be adapted to a virtual environment. However, these resources will be just as useful when you begin face-to-face instruction as they are for virtual instruction. Let's get started. Here we go. I think of each sway as a page. So this is the cover page of the Virtual Learning SOS. This page takes you to each topic page for knowledge building and resources. To access the table of contents on any Microsoft Sway, you just click this black and white icon at the bottom right of the screen. Don't click the image, click the icon at the bottom right of the screen. There you go. And that's going to take you to the table of contents. You can hover over each picture to see the title and click the side arrow to move to the right and see the entire list. You click the X in the top right corner to exit. You could also just scroll down this way to see the different topics. That's what I generally do. None of the pages are excessively long, so either way works. It's whatever you prefer. But the way the table of contents is set up is a little different, so I wanted to point that out. All right, let's look at our first topic, phonological awareness and virtual instruction. Just below the title is a brief description of the page. The choice to open this part of the resource first was very purposeful because of the research that suggests that the phonological core deficit is the most common reason students have difficulty with word level reading. In addition, addressing this type of instruction virtually produces very specific challenges for teachers and young students because of the auditory nature of this skill. If you click the title, Phonological Awareness and Virtual Instruction, a new window will open. Angela mentioned that before. That's just how SWAY operates, and new windows will open up whenever you click links. So you can navigate by using the tabs at the top. Please take note as we scroll through that we have referenced sources throughout, and when possible, we've provided links directly back to the source of the material. We definitely want to give credit where credit is due and lift up the amazing work that is available. Also, this way, if you'd like to dig deeper into anything, you can go directly to the source. So here we have our table of contents again, and you can see that there are 8 headings on this page. Our first heading, we can click on it and go to the first part. For each page and topic, we will follow roughly the same format. It will change slightly only because each topic is somewhat different. However, each page will include a bit of knowledge building at the top, at the beginning, as Angela mentioned, and then as you move down, you will find it divided into knowledge building at the top and then resources down as you scroll. So the first section. What is phonological awareness? Each page will start off with a definition and description of the topic. Here we point out that phonological awareness is an umbrella term that includes phonemic awareness. They're not actually interchangeable terms. Phonological awareness is much more broad than phonemic awareness, which is the ability to manipulate the smallest unit of sound, the phoneme. As we go down to the second section, general tips. Here you're going to find tips that are useful in both face-to-face instruction as well as virtual instruction. Certain parts are bolded in order to designate them as something to think more closely about in a virtual environment. One piece that I don't want you to miss in this section, it's number 10, assessment. We always want to use data to understand where students are in their phonological skill development. This will support you in targeting instruction and filling in any phonological deficits students may have. Your district or school may already have something in place for this. Yes, hooray! However, if you don't have anything and you need a resource, we have linked you here to the Phonological Awareness Screening Test, or PAST, which is a diagnostic assessment tool for phonological awareness. And Angela's going to open that up for us. You'll get that message whenever you open anything up and just click that it's okay to trust the sources from the SWAY. So here you can see you can just download the PAST for free and use it. It also has instructions. So it's just one resource. Our next section is a resource for an instructional progression for phonological awareness. This is an opportunity for more knowledge building around phonological awareness. And also there is a link to a very practical chart, which Angela is going to open, that indicates the tasks that can be used to teach each skill at each level of phonological awareness. You can also find this chart in the Comprehensive Plan for Reading Achievement, which was approved by the State Board on September 3rd of this year. So this chart shows you the typical age, the phonological skill, and sample tasks used for teaching that skill. So it's very practical. All right, our next section will be found in on the Phonological Awareness page, as well as the Phoneme Grapheme Correspondence page and the Decoding and Encoding page. All the pages, not really all the pages, but lots of pages. This section is titled the Phoneme Pronunciation section. I'm going to share a quick story here to help you understand why this is going to be such an important piece. So I'm a mom. I have a 5-month-old and a 6-year-old. My 6-year-old is in 1st grade. And I cannot tell you how many times I've put on an educational show for my 6-year-old daughter and heard alphabet songs that misrepresent the sounds for which the letters stand. For example, the other day I was in the kitchen making dinner. It happens sometimes. I do actually make dinner sometimes. And I hear the TV in this alphabet song, and they're singing k, k, k for the sound that is represented by C. And I thought, no, that's not the sound represented by C. That sound is actually not voiced. It sounds like this. So my point here is that many young kids are hearing these misrepresentations of the sounds for which the letters stand and subsequently learning the 44 English phonemes in a way that is incorrect prior to coming to preschool or kindergarten. That makes it all the more imperative that we as educators explicitly teach the sounds correctly. So we've put this video from the Rollins Center for Language and Literacy, and it demonstrates the correct pronunciation of all 44 phonemes. It is vital that educators model the sounds correctly for students and explicitly teach students to produce the sounds correctly. If we inadvertently add the schwa to the end of a sound, we make it far more difficult for students to blend the sounds together to make words. Mispronunciation of sounds is more common than you might think, and it's very hard to hear yourself that you mispronounce sounds. Therefore, it's very important that we are cognizant of our sound pronunciation. For example, let's think about the word mat. If I teach the sound represented by the letter M as M instead of M, and the sound represented by the letter T as T instead of T, when my students try to blend the sounds in the word, it comes out like this, ma-ta. Okay, well that's not mat, right? That's not right. That makes it very difficult. But by pronouncing the sounds correctly, students will have much more success blending the sounds together to form a word. At, mat. If you are wondering what each sound should actually sound like, please take the time to watch this video for a beautiful demonstration of each phoneme. Okay, our next section of the page is titled Tools for PA in a Virtual World, and is meant to just break the page up from that knowledge building section to a more resource-oriented focus. So this section is exciting. It has resources pulled from the University of Florida Literacy Institute, or UFLI for short. You can click and go directly to the UFLI page from here. However, what we've done is try to streamline a few things for you in regard to PA instruction. In their webinar, Spotlight on Primary Grades, K through 2, UFLI did a phenomenal job of explaining the resources. So we've taken the part of the webinar that introduces some of the PA tools and put it here. That way you can watch just the portion relevant to phonemic awareness rather than the entire webinar if you don't have time to watch the whole webinar. But if you do want to watch the whole webinar, we've linked to it here as well. We're going to take a minute and 45 seconds, that's how long this video is, and watch that video together now.
Now, talk more about one of the first areas of focus, phonemic awareness, or the ability to notice and manipulate individual sounds in spoken language, because that's an essential building block for later decoding skills. So as this definition shows us, phonemic awareness is all about sounds. So our activities in this section do not include letters for that reason. When we talk about phonemic awareness, we should also mention phonological awareness, which we like to think of as an umbrella term, because activities within phonological awareness can occur at different levels. They can occur at the word level, at the syllable level, at the intrasyllabic level, such as onset rhyme or body coda, or at the phoneme level. You will notice most of the activities, or all of the activities actually, on the hub are related to the phoneme level or phonemic awareness. Specifically, we target most of the activities on the hub with the skills of blending and segmenting at this phoneme level because of their utility for students decoding and encoding. Here is just brief screenshots of the 4 activities on the hub right now related to phonemic awareness. The Quinn Boxes activity helps students practice segmenting phonemes, just as the phoneme counting activity with beads. The sorting game can actually be used for segmenting phonemes or syllables in words. And then Say It and Move It is a more complex phonemic awareness activity that allows students to manipulate sounds in a more complex way.
Okay. Now, in this next section, the instructional activities for teaching PA, we're going to see those exact activities that she just referenced. We've linked directly to them, the sorting game, Quinn boxes, phoneme counting, bead string, and here we're going to look at the sorting game. So you can just see an example of what will come up. They have a PowerPoint, so you can download it in PowerPoint or in Google Slides, which when you click the Google slide, it will prompt you to make a copy, which makes it editable. So then you have the ability to edit that and use it how you like. I'd like to point out here that although these tools are virtual, they can easily translate into face-to-face instruction. These activities can be used in a PowerPoint or Google slide presentation that is projected onto your whiteboard or smartboard for modeling and guided practice with your students when you return to face-to-face instruction. That's just one simple way, but there are many ways these tools can be utilized as you go back into the classroom. All right, we also dropped these sample videos in here so you can see how UFly used some of these resources with students. Let's check out a model lesson using the sorting game, which we just took a look at.
A check, that means we're done with that one. Okay, now we're gonna go on to a sorting game where we move some pictures, okay? So the way we're gonna play this sorting game is you get to pick a color. You're gonna pick the color balloon that you wanna pop. And then under the balloon, there's a picture. Okay, and we're going to count the sounds of the word that the picture shows, and then we're going to move the picture into the bucket that shows how many sounds it has. So it might have 2 sounds, 3 sounds, or 4 sounds. Okay. All right. Who wants to pick first? Let's do Chuli first. What color, Chuli?
Purple.
Purple. All right. I'm going to pop the purple one. Will you move down a little bit so we can see your face? There you go. All right, I'm going to pop this purple balloon. What is this? What's she doing?
Swimming.
Swimming. So our word is swim. All right, let's all count the sounds and swim together. This is a tricky one. Everybody put your fingers up. We'll do the sounds on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoa. How many sounds in swim?
4.
That's a lot of sounds. Let's practice those sounds again in swim. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 4 sounds. So what bucket should we put it in, Julie?
This one.
This one right here? Yeah, you got it. We're going to put it in the 4 bucket. All right, Lily, your turn. What color balloon do you want to pop?
Green.
Green. All right, bye-bye, green. What's that?
Pig.
Yeah, we counted the sounds in pig. Let's count the sounds in pig one more time together. 1, 2, 3. Pig. How many sounds, Lily?
3.
Yeah, which bucket should we put it in? The 3 bucket? Yeah, bye-bye, pig. You have 3 sounds. All right, Demi, your turn to pick a color.
Blue.
Okay, so I love watching that video. I think that's a great model. Let's look at our next section. It has resources from Dr. Nell Duke with the University of Michigan. In these videos, she demonstrates each suggestion and also adds in tips for how to use Google Drawings. Her examples and think alouds are approached a bit differently than UFly materials, so this offers another perspective and additional ideas for instructional strategies. We're going to watch just the first 2 minutes of this video. It's only 4 minutes long, but we're just going to watch 2 minutes.
Okay, so now I'll turn to some techniques for phonological awareness building at a distance. First, as I'm sure that many of you watching this video know, it's very important to develop phonological awareness and particularly phonemic awareness in pre-K, K, and grade 1 and as needed thereafter. There are many, many resources available that we can trust around how to develop phonological awareness. Two that I have on the screen here are the Literacy Essentials online free modules that are available at literacyessentials.org, and specifically for phonological awareness, it would be module number 4 for K to 3 or for pre-K. And then the What Works Clearinghouse practice guide on foundational skills to support reading for understanding in kindergarten through 3rd grade. We can build phonological awareness at a distance. One thing we do need to watch out for is the audio quality, because we are engaged in oral interaction with phonological awareness and we do need to hear individual sounds when we're working at the level of phonemic awareness. The audio quality does need to be strong, but we can compensate to some degree with issues with that by using visual supports. I would like to emphasize that phonological awareness building is something that can be active and fun, and so can be a particularly useful thing to do with young children at this particular moment in our history. So one fun way to do this with visual supports would be to get a little bit silly. So I might show this picture to children and say it represents the word grow. We'd all say grow, and then encourage the children to put a sound at the end of grow. And of course, as children need it, you can scaffold them, slowing the word down, putting some space between grow and then having them decrease that space and so on. And eventually they'll figure out it's gross. I might show them a picture of a lime and then encourage them to put before the word lime, and they'll get slime. So this is an example of some of the kind of wordplay that we can engage.
Okay, so that was Dr. Nell Duke. So just a little bit different approach. Next, we have my personal favorite section. How do I monitor student responses virtually? This is the concept that would have kept me up at night trying to think of ideas as a classroom teacher. How will I get students to make their thinking visible? Here we have included a model video from UFly where you see examples of how to set up expectations and routines for student responses during any type of foundational reading skill instruction. I think this is one of the most practical sections of the page, and you'll also see in some of Dr. Nell Duke's models on here that we're not going to look at today, but you'll see examples of student responses in there as well. So here's just a little taste from UFly.
So what's really tricky about being on the computer is that sometimes if we talk all at the same time, it's too loud. So we're going to practice some things that will help us. But first, I want to show you my best surprise. Do you see this down here with the little boxes with the checks in them? This is showing that if we finish all of our games together, all of our learning activities, we get to do a Go Noodle at the end. Yeah, all together on the computer. And one of you, we're going to pick a friend to choose that Go Noodle. So you get to pick which one it is this time. And then next time, another friend will get to pick. Show me a thumbs up if that's exciting and that sounds fun. Awesome. Thank you for showing me, friends. So now we're going to practice some things that are going to help us be able to learn together. So the first thing is that sometimes I'm going to tell you I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, like that, for you to say something. Okay?
Yeah.
So at the count of 3, I'm going to ask you to say the color. So when I get to 3, I'm going to go like this with my hand. And that means tell me the color. Ready? Looking at the screen, make sure you're listening and looking. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Green.
Good. Let's try it again. Let's all say it, right? When we get to 3 is when you tell me the color. Ready? All together. 1, 2, 3.
Green.
Good job. See how that works? So because we were all looking at my fingers and waiting to 3, I was able to hear all of you. Now we're going to try it a little bit different. This time, I'm going to read the color. So I'm going to point to myself like this. You see me pointing at myself? Thumbs up. Yeah, I'm pointing to myself. So I'm going to read, and then you're going to read all together, okay? So you have to watch my hand and listen to what I'm saying. So first, my turn. Red. You read.
Red.
Good. Let's try it again. So look at my hand. I read, you read. So red.
Red.
Good. I read, you read. Good job. So for this time, I'm going to call you by name. I'm going to say, Anna, read this color. Sydney, read this color. Or Lucine, read this color. So ready? Let's see. Sydney, what color is this?
Yellow.
Good job. Thank you for telling me the color. Let's see. Anna, what color is this?
Pink.
Pink. Good job, Anna. That's a pink crayon. Lucine, what color is this?
Blue.
Good job. Blue, like the color of your shirt. So see, you have to be listening for your name just like you were so that you can answer and read for me. Sounds good? Thumbs up. All right. Good listening. So now we're going to get started with our...
Okay. I love those strategies that she uses. So here we go. The final section of this page is the Tennessee Department of Education Foundational Skills Curriculum Supplement. So the title is going to link you to the full supplemental curriculum here. And I think Angela's going to take us to that. Yep. So you can see as she scrolls down that the phonological awareness pieces are listed in ancillary materials, and you can click them there. These materials are completely free. They are evidence-based and are explicit and systematic in their instructional approach. We wanted to make it as streamlined as possible. So what we did is we linked directly to the PA supplemental materials by grade. So we'll show you that here. So if you're a kindergarten teacher, you click right there. And here you will find day-by-day lessons for PA instruction as well as assessment materials. So you can just go directly to your grade level for phonological awareness lessons if you need that. If your district already has that in place, that's wonderful. But in case you need it, you also have a resource right here. That was the last section of this page. Just as a wrap up, this page has knowledge building at the beginning and tools and resources as you scroll down. This is how each page will be set up in the Virtual Learning SOS. A reminder, since Microsoft Sway opens new windows, navigate by using the tabs at the top of the page to go back to the home page. So let's do that now. And we're going to go to another page of the SOS. This is exciting. Here we go. Let's take a look at phoneme, grapheme, correspondences, and virtual instruction. Okay. We have a similar setup and a table of contents to help you navigate if you choose to use it. The first section provides a definition and explanation of phoneme, grapheme, correspondences. Phoneme, grapheme, correspondence is the ability to match sounds or phonemes with the letters or graphemes that represent those sounds. Sometimes this is referred to as letter sound correspondence. Mastery of phoneme, grapheme correspondences are necessary when developing decoding skills. Our next section, again, we have general tips for teaching phoneme, grapheme correspondence. We've included tips that focus on phoneme pronunciation, as previously mentioned, and phoneme, grapheme correspondences should be taught using explicit instruction, which, if you remember, is Angela's favorite topic. To learn more about what explicit instruction is and how to use it, we've linked to a video we created for our K-3 Literacy Hot Summer Topic Series addressing explicit instruction. This is a short informational video you can view that applies to instruction in general, not only phoneme grapheme correspondence. The following section is on phoneme pronunciation, which we've already discussed, so we will move on to our next section, but like I said, you're going to see it on this page as well. Here we have the resources from UFlight. Again, you can link straight to their page if you choose to do that, or you can use these links to go directly to the resources they've created specific to phoneme grapheme correspondence. Let's watch this short video excerpt from the Spotlight on Primary K2 webinar. This is a 3-minute video, and she'll show us the resources that they have for phoneme grapheme correspondence.
Main area of focus on the hub we call phoneme grapheme correspondences, because we know that children have to learn to associate the phonemes, the speech sounds, they hear with graphemes, or the letter or letter combinations that they see. So this section is organized by grapheme concept. So you'll see it begins with the alphabet, then consonant digraphs, consonant blends. Other graphemes are controlled vowels and vowel teams. We include consonant blends as a bucket on this section, but this is not to say that this should be taught as individual graphemes. We do teach our students that blends are 2 individual sounds. So children must develop a really solid understanding of what is called the alphabetic principle, or the fundamental insight that letters and sounds work together in really systematic ways to form words. This understanding is really what helps build the foundation for their ability to decode. You'll notice that the letters on the left are all lowercase and are all blue. We have designed the hub activities with letters of all one color, because we want students to focus on the shape of the letter and, of course, the sound that that letter makes, instead of using color as a way to recognize which are vowels and which are consonants. So that's just an important thing to remember. And another thing to remember is that this section includes letters, but also letter combinations or more complex graphemes such as SH and OR. It's important for us to remember that we teach children the sounds that letters make so that they can blend those sounds to read words. So when we teach any phoneme grapheme correspondence, whether they're letters or letter combinations, it's really important that we model the most blendable pronunciation of that grapheme. So this is a really helpful video of Dr. Lane producing the most blendable sounds for the letters of the alphabet. And it also provides a keyword for each of those sounds that helps you practice producing those blendable sounds. These are the 4 main activities included in these sections of the phoneme grapheme correspondence part of the hub. We have resources and slides for visual drill, which my colleague will discuss later, auditory drill, activities for alphabetical order or ABC order, and coming soon, very soon now, we are going to have introduction slides for different graphemes.
Okay. So now let's look at some of those instructional activities from UFly for teaching phoneme grapheme correspondence. Let's open up, they actually have the grapheme introduction in those slides are ready now. So that webinar was made before they were ready, but they are available now. So we'll click on alphabet drills and ABC order, and we will go to the 4 activities that she talked about. So you can see the visual drill and then the grapheme introduction. So we will open up a Grapheme introduction presentation in Google Slides, and you can see how they walk you through introducing a letter and sound and where the sound might appear in the word. Let's look at the Grapheme A. That's what we're going to look at. And it's each Grapheme introduction Google slide presentation takes you through exactly how to introduce it. So you can see what they include in a Grapheme introduction slide. Again, it's going to prompt you to copy it so it's completely editable if you do it in Google Slides, if you download it in Google Slides. Okay, now we have a video here. I would encourage you to watch it because she actually models the visual drill and the auditory drill with a kindergarten student using these instructional activities here that we just looked at. And this video, though, is about 12 minutes long. So for purposes of time, we're not going to view it today. Okay, our final section. The final section of this particular sway is a virtual sound wall. So let's talk briefly about sound walls because this resource can work for you virtually or face-to-face in your classroom. And a sound wall is different from a traditional word wall. A traditional word wall organizes words by spelling using the 26 letters in the alphabet. A sound wall is organized by the 44 phonemes in the English language and operates from the principle that we learn speech first, then print. For example, on my traditional word wall, I might put the word there under the letter T because it starts with a T. However, the sound it begins with is actually th. We could also think of the example of the word one, like the number one. Traditionally, it would be placed under the O. However, the sound at the beginning of the word is actually when a child is looking for that word, they would say it and look for it under the sound it makes rather than its spelling. In addition, a sound wall includes pictures of what the mouth looks like when making each sound, as well as a key word to represent the sound. As students learn the corresponding grapheme or graphemes that represent the phoneme, these spellings can be added to the sound wall. The consonants on a sound wall are organized by articulatory features from the front of the mouth to the back of the mouth, and it builds awareness of what happens in your mouth as you form sounds. The vowels are organized into the shape of a V, and you'll see that when we look at our vowel valley, starting off with the mouth being more closed at the top of the V in a smile position with the long E sound, down the valley to the short O sound that's rounded, ah, and then back up. Your mouth is going to it's going to close back up as you go up the valley to that U sound. And yes, I feel ridiculous making these sounds for you guys, but we do it for the kids. All right, so a teacher can build in a 5 to 10 minute instructional routine that utilizes the sound wall daily to help familiarize students with the format as well as build awareness of these articulatory gestures. When we demonstrate a sound for student, it happens in a moment and then it's gone. However, a sound wall makes things more concrete for our kids and provides an invaluable reference for letter sound correspondence. So you might be thinking, well, how do I get started with a sound wall? First of all, the number one thing is don't be afraid to try it. Today, we're not going to look comprehensively at sound walls, but rather the purpose is to get you thinking about it and considering how it might work in your classroom. And you can start small and build. Okay, so the resources are here and they are ready for you when you are ready to get started. So let's check out, first of all, Michelle Trossel's blog. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. This blog is wonderful. It is very useful because it is succinct and informative. So you can watch the first video, which is 34 minutes long, and get all the information you need. Or if you're thinking to yourself, well, I know a little bit about sound walls, but I don't know a ton about sound walls, so I just need to look at parts. She's chopped that video, that 34-minute video, up into short excerpts so you can visit the section that you need to learn more about or that you have questions about. I highly recommend this as a time saver and resource for learning about sound walls. You can see at the bottom of her blog that there are many links to additional resources that you can use to go deeper into the what and how of sound walls if you so wish to do so. Now back on our sway, we have also included 2 Google Docs, so a Google Doc that links to many sound wall resources, as well as a document that guides you through 6 steps to start with sound walls. So those are linked on the sway as well. Okay, let's go down here. You can actually download, this is really exciting, you guys, a Google Slide version of a virtual sound wall. When you click on the link, you will be prompted to make a copy of the presentation. So just click Make a Copy. And now you have your very own editable version of a sound wall. So let's take a look at it together. Keep in mind that once you go back face-to-face, this resource can still be utilized either through projecting it in your classroom or by printing it and displaying it in your room. I'd like to mention here that the pictures of the mouth articulation were taken during the COVID-19 pandemic, and my access to students was very limited. I only had access to my daughter, so I used her as a model for the pictures. However, to reflect the diversity in your own classroom, I would encourage you to take pictures of your own students making the sounds and drop those into the sound wall since it is completely editable. The students will love it and it will be reflective of the population you serve. The slides in the sound wall are split into consonants and vowels. We will scroll down to give you a quick overview. The consonants are organized by articulatory features, the way the sound is formed. So stops, nasals, fricatives, affricates, glides, and liquids. Also, they are characterized as voiced or unvoiced. Each articulatory feature has a page that lists the consonants fitting into that category. From there, you can go to individual graphing pages, which is where you can add words to your sound wall that represent various spellings. The vowels, oh, went too fast. Okay, the vowels are organized in a valley, the shape of a V, starting at the top of the valley with the vowels that represent sounds made with the mouth more closed, going all the way down to that ah sound, and then back up the V to the U sound. So your mouth opens and then closes back up. So kids are paying attention to those articulatory gestures as they make sounds. All right, so from the vowel valley, you can see that each vowel has a page that shows how the vowel is formed in the mouth, as well as the various spellings for the vowel. Now, just a little note here, you only add the spellings you have taught your students. However, I included many here as a reference for you. And we'll talk a little bit more about that briefly, but just know that a sound wall is going to look very different in kindergarten than it would look in 3rd grade. Throughout the sound wall, we have embedded links for ease of navigation, which I will point out to you now. All right, so we're going to go to the navigation homepage. There it is. All right, you can go from there, you can go directly to the consonant chart or the vowel valley. All of the keywords in the Google slide, all the keywords are links to graphing pages. So keep that in your mind. And the blue underlined words are links to a menu page. Let's look at an example together of how to navigate a consonant and a vowel. So let's walk through the consonant T. We're going to go to the graphing page and then back again. So we want a consonant, so we clicked on the consonant picture, and then now we're going to click, let's see, T is a stop sound, so I'm going to click stops. All right, and there you see my stop sounds. And to go to the graphing page, I click the keyword picture. And then there you are, right at the graphing page. Now to go back, you just click your keyword picture. And then from the menu page to go back to the consonant chart, you always click the articulatory feature. So click stop sounds. And there we are. Now let's say you want to navigate to a vowel. So click consonant articulatory features, that blue underlined word. Remember, those are your things to remember. Blue underlined words and pictures are links. And now we're going to click on the picture of the vowel valley. This will take us to the vowels. Okay, so now what we're going to do is click on the keyword picture, let's say for feet, for the long E sound. And that will take us to the long E grapheme page. Now right here, I want to just reiterate that a sound wall in kindergarten would look very different from a 3rd grade class, right? Because each letter should only include the spellings that you've taught your students. In kindergarten, near the very end of kindergarten, you may have only taught one spelling for long E, if any, depending on your scope and sequence. Whereas in 3rd grade, you would have taught all the long E spellings. So just remember, you're putting up the different spellings as you teach them. Now to navigate back, we just click on the keyword picture. And then to go back to our navigation homepage, we click on Vowel Valley, the underlined blue words. Okay, this concludes our tour of the virtual SOS. Now we will share a bit.ly with you so you have it for future use. You can also link to the SOS through the K3 Literacy Division Read to Achieve repository. In addition, we are dropping a feedback form into the chat box that we would really like you to complete. This feedback will provide us with invaluable information as we move forward with this resource, and we most definitely want to hear from you. The feedback form should only take 2 minutes, if that. Thank you so much for joining us today on this tour of the Virtual Learning SOS. Please look for the release of the upcoming pages as you follow us on Twitter, in our K3 Lit Bits, and on the repository. And I believe Kelly is dropping all of that in the chat. So I don't know, we have about 4 minutes.
I am. I'm answering a couple questions and dropping them in to the chat as well.
Great. Okay, well, again, thank you all so very much. I know it was a lot of content. I just thank you for hanging in there with me, and I hope you'll follow us and keep up with the Virtual Learning SOS.